Good morning. I want to talk about another battle rap technique that A Ward has kind of made himself known for using. I'm going to go ahead and play both of these clips and then we'll get into it.
You can't go back and forth with me. Who said you're pen worthy? Jersey? Redhead just a rap battle. Watch fans backwater. Sure 30. Wait, reverse that. 30? Sure. A Ward's back. Fans watch battle rap just to hear red jerseys. It hurts me.
And then I want to show one more example where he kind of does the same thing against QB on RB.
I'ma prove this fraud can't go back and forth with me. This is the reboot. Cool. We like acting. Stop. And stop acting like we cool. I'm too mean. I win landing bars. And bars landing when I mean to. I said QB want a body? No. And nobody wanna be you.
So the technique that he uses in both of those clips is kind of a palindrome. It's not exactly a palindrome. A palindrome tends to be a word that is spelled the same from the front and the back. So M-O-M or M-O-M if you read it backwards. Or here's a different example, never, odd, or even. If you look at the N-E-V-E-R-O-D-D, this whole thing right here says never odd. So if you just read it backwards. So instead of, never, odd, or even, he would probably do something like even or odd, never. Now, this doesn't actually make any sense because there is a difference between palindromes and what A Ward does, but there's also definitely a similarity there. So I won't say that this is a difficult technique. It doesn't require that you know how to do schemes or know how to do punchlines. Theoretically speaking, you could mix in a scheme and or a punchline while doing this. That would be very difficult to accomplish, and that would definitely increase the difficulty of doing this. But at the very core, all he's doing is basically saying a bunch of words one way and then saying it backwards. So in the battle with O-Red, the first line is kind of just telling you that this is going to happen. I wouldn't really call it filler because it is necessary to say, oh, this is what's happening. Otherwise, people might not catch it. But very simply enough, every word in this line is the same as every word in this line, but done backward. And I don't know if there is a really easy technique to really kind of replicate this. I don't think it's really that difficult of a technique, but it does require playing around with your words in a way that is very boring. Basically, I would just look up different phrases, write them out, and then maybe try to craft a sentence from it. Like you have black eye, you could say something like I black out, or something like that. It would take more energy than I feel like putting into this video, but that would be the basic idea where you're just trying to figure out what words go in the middle of this to kind of create a coherent sentence. However, for me, the effectiveness of this technique is really based on how clean I think you can do it. If I'm being real here, some of the wording is a little bit unnatural. In segments, it kind of makes sense, like watch fans backward. All right, I can see that being used in a sentence. A sure 30, it almost sounds like something that ChatGPT would come up with, but I think it's, passable. Overall, I like the idea. The execution is not bad, but I do think that it could be a little bit better, which is why I pointed out that second clip, which I feel like he did a better job on it. Cool, we like acting, stop acting like we cool. I'm too mean, I win landing bars and bars landing when I mean to. This part right here is a little bit unnatural, but I'm willing to forgive it because what's impressive about this is not only does he have 3 different examples of himself running back and forth, but he has 3 different examples of it and all of them rhyme with each other, and that to me is very impressive. I do feel like this was a better implementation and a better execution of the same battle rap technique. And when I critique things and say that I feel like they sound unnatural, it's not because I'm trying to be mean about the bar or whatever, but rather if people want to reuse this technique, I'm trying to give them some clues as to how to make this more effective or less effective. In my mind, a perfect 11 out of 10 execution would be that when you're reading it forward and you're reading it backward, it reads the same as the way a normal human would talk. I don't necessarily imagine A Ward going out and saying, I'm too mean, I win landing bars and bars land when I mean to. It just sounds weird. My bars are landing when I mean them to. If he was not in a rap battle, he would never say that. And I'm not trying to downplay this at all. I really like the way that he did it against QB. I didn't like it so much the way he did it against O-Red, but I wanted to point out that if you do a technique like this, people are going to be more analytical on the second line than they are going to be on the first line. So if you're going to have weird wording, I would advise you try to have that on the first line. Obviously, A Ward was not able to do that here because it would have fucked up his rhyme scheme. But if he had something like bars landing when I mean to and I'm too mean, I win landing bars, I think it's a little bit more believable that he would say I win landing bars than bars landing when I mean to. I think in A Ward's case, he did the right thing for his time because this is not the bar. This is just leading up to the bar, which is really, I said QB want a body, nobody want to be Q. But even in that, the reason why I feel like this lands a lot harder is because I believe that he would say nobody wants to be Q. It doesn't feel like an unnatural wording, but that's kind of the advice I'm trying to give. If you have to sacrifice some level of sounding natural to pull off this technique, it would be better to sacrifice the setup rather than the punchline. I do like how A Ward decided to use his body language when he was battling O-Red. He basically kind of claps his hand and then kind of moves forward, and then you could see him moving backwards and then redoing the hand clap. When he battles QB, his body language is a little bit different. He's just kind of using his hand to show you how he's moving back and forth within the sentence. I think either method is cool. It does the job of, describing what it is he's doing. But in terms of his body language, I kind of like the way that he did it against O-Red. It was just a little bit more unique and something you don't typically see in a rap battle. But at the core, the real impressiveness of it is really the writing and the way that it comes off when you actually rap it. So I don't think that the body language matters too much, but it's always cool to kind of observe what people are doing. And if you're doing a technique like this, I would definitely recommend you think of different unique ways to use your body to tell the story. But anyhow, if you have not already seen it, check out A Ward versus QB Black Diamond on RBE. Also check out O-Red versus A Ward also on RBE. And that is it for this episode. Thank you.